Welcome to the Call to Action podcast with Nicole Magic, where conscious awakened leaders listen and action takers are rewarded. Join us for the insightful wisdom of today's special guest with an irresistible offer. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Nicole Magic with the Call to Action podcast, where professional service providers and strategists share their wisdom. It is 5 questions in less than 10 minutes because we value everyone's time and energy. So we're just going to get right on into it. Welcome, Claude Cruz. I love that you're here on the show with me. We'll just go right in. Question number 1 in a few sentences. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I really value this show and the ability to reach out to people with questions about things that are important to all of us. I'm a life coach specializing in relationships and intimacy. And I have training in sexology as well, because that's an important aspect of intimacy coaching, basically. And I'm here to help people explore and expand their lives in those areas.
Excellent. This is an area that is so needed right now in the world because there's so much out there and you have so much knowledge to share. So question number 2, what wisdom would you like to share with our audience today?
Okay, I have to start with a disclaimer. Wisdom is in the eye of the beholder. But that said, from my own experience and training, knowing yourself is a very important thing, because that's the foundation on which any kind of relationship is built. If you don't know yourself, you don't know what to go after, you don't know who you're going to be compatible with, etc. And the notion of loving to love, wanting to get more love in your life, that won't proceed very well if you're not willing to give. So it's a two-way street. And in opening yourself to love, you have to also be willing to love and support and uplift your partners. And that's what will get you a good foundation. And we're all embodied spirits. We basically have a spiritual side as well as our physicality. I personally think it's very important to integrate those. In our culture, it's sometimes hard to feel good about your body and about your physicality. We have all kinds of funky messaging and programming. So as embodied spirits, one of my jobs is to help people embrace who they are fully. And that's what I get off on. Okay.
Excellent. And there's so much on all of those topics that can go so deep into each one of those. So would love to have you to do a longer show. So if you like
Sure.
what you're hearing, people, comment what you want to hear about because we'd like to have Claude back. Question number 3. What other top service providers and strategists that you know who are successful like yourself, Claude, would you like to give a shout out to?
I've been, in honesty, working pretty much in isolation for some time. I work locally here. I live in Portland, Oregon. And so I work with local providers. I'm active in the sex positive Portland community. There are other sex positive chapters throughout the country and the world. So I would recommend checking in with them. I won't point at any specific. There are multiple podcasts, obviously, on relationship and to a lesser extent on sexuality and sensuality. So I think I will take a bye on that particular question for now and just say check in with your local sex positive community, because they're a wealth of knowledge and support.
Excellent. Good directive. Question number 4. What obstacle became your greatest opportunity?
I think that for me, it was really about overcoming some funky programming that I received. I was raised in a very conservative Catholic family. And that comes with a lot of baggage sometimes, things that don't necessarily serve us well as adults. So I have a notion that I've developed that I think of as rechoicing. It basically involves revisiting, trying to surface the programming that you've received, and then make some decisions for yourself. Think for yourself and embrace what you resonate with, to identify things that no longer serve you and cut them loose and go in directions that are really natural for you. And again, part of my job as a coach is to help you with that, because it's not easy to uproot this deep programming. Okay.
Excellent. We actually have some extra time before we get to the last and final question, where you give your call to action for our action takers. We have several minutes. If you would like to go ahead and talk a little bit more about any part of your topic, please feel free. You've got about
Sure.
3 minutes that you can take.
So I would love that opportunity. And I have a couple of things that I want to convey. One is three interrelated concepts that are, and they're interrelated, but they're different: sensuality, sexuality, and intimacy. And in common colloquial usage, when people say intimacy, many people really mean sexuality. That ain't it. It's in its proper definition. Sensuality is our connection with our senses, all of them: taste, smell, as well as touch. Touch is so important, and especially with the pandemic, we're really feeling lack of that touch. Sexuality is a subset of sensuality. It is part of our sensual existence that's focused more on not just procreation, but physical pleasure. And then intimacy is more on the emotional plane. That has to do more with how we connect deeply to other people, kind of at the heart level. And they're all different but interrelated. So the way I see it, the way these three things work together is I have this notion of sexual synergy. Synergy in the sense of two people who get on the same wavelength so that the energy can flow freely between them. On a physical plane, that happens when you have people who are compatible, they have that mysterious chemistry, and they're also in a physically receptive state. You know, if you're dog tired and such, you're not going to be able to be present there. But if you have that physical state as well, and if you feel safe, if you feel desired, and if you're feeling desire, then you can have this wonderful sharing of sensuality, touch, sex. On the intimacy plane, I have a notion of deep connection, and I think that we're all deeply connected. We're not independent as so often is positioned. And that means we have a desire for intimacy. We want to feel cared for. We want to feel known and seen and appreciated. We want to feel safe, and we have to be open and available for connection. If we have those requisites, then you have true, you can think of it as emotional intimacy. So if you can combine intimacy on the emotional plane with sensuality and sexuality on a physical plane, to me, those are ingredients, foundation for a blissful life overall. It's a life in which you have satisfaction and fulfillment, you know yourself, uh, you're grateful for the good things you have, and you're able to reciprocate that to other people. So you draw people into your life. Uh, you generally will find yourself, you know, this notion of happiness. You will have positive affect or happiness as a side effect. You don't go for happiness. You do these other things, and happiness will follow. And you'll know other people. You'll be able to relate to other people. And in our culture and our society, I don't know about you, but I find it rare to be able to connect deeply with people. So that's what I want for my life.
I love
That's a
it.
little bit about the sort of terrain I cover.
That's excellent. So many golden nuggets in there too. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And you do have a call to action for our action takers. So that's question number 5. Let's hear it, Claude.
Yeah, I do indeed. First, I want to point people to my newly raised website. It's twoopendoors.com. And the website will explain where that mysterious title is from. I also have a podcast that I've just set up for hosting. It's not yet accessible through Apple Podcasts or Spotify or those folk, but the check's in the mail. So within the next few days, I expect you'll be able to get my podcast through those channels as well. And then I want to offer your audience a giveaway. I have a short and fun quiz that is intended to help you better sort out what sort of deep human connections you desire. Clarify that in your own mind. And I'd like to offer a bonus for those who respond to the quiz. I will offer a short one-on-one session, be it video or phone, to further explore your answers and help you get better acquainted with how to bring your deep connection into your life. Okay.
Excellent. That information on the websites, it's all in the description, guys. So go ahead and take Claude up on his offer. And don't forget to listen to the next episode of the Call to Action podcast, where conscious awakened leaders listen and action takers get rewarded. Thank you, Claude, for being on the show. And thank you all for watching. Bye, everyone.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone, and thank you for listening. I hope you found today's episode insightful and invaluable to elevating your own business.